Hey everybody on YouTube. Today I thought I'd take a few minutes out to do another vintage video repair, or basically a demonstration. So today we're going to be talking about reel-to-reel video heads. I actually rebuild my own video heads. I rebuild video heads for customers. I also know how you troubleshoot these video machines. This applies to the Sony Eiaj video machines, the Sony AV3400s, 3600s, the 3650s, the 8600, the 8650s. This applies to all the Sony AV series. Alright, as you can tell, I got on my table here, I have a video bar which is already done. This is one that I actually rebuilt for a customer. I want to walk you through how you check video heads on these reel-to-reel Eiaj machines. How do you troubleshoot the problem? How do you install them correctly? Basically, this is one of the biggest problems on these reel-to-reel video machines, and I just want to walk you through a few things so you have an idea. If you get a reel-to-reel video machine and it's a Sony brand and it's not working, you always have to check the heads, but you can't always check from the outside of the head. That doesn't always tell you something. You have to actually check video heads electronically and visually when you're looking at the tip of the video head. So let me walk you through a few little checks on this, and just pay attention. This is very important to the Sony Eiaj reel-to-reel video heads on these machines, and it'll give you a good idea how to properly check these so you know that the video heads are good in the machine that you have. And if not, you're going to have to know how to rebuild it, or actually swap out a video head, or put another video tip on these, which is what I did. It's a few little things, so let me explain this to you. Alright? First of all, you need to get the video bar that you want to work on. You got to actually take it out of the machine, which is, here it is right here. Now, I rebuild video heads, so I got to have a spare scanner to set the clearances of the video tips, so they protrude far enough outside of the scanner so you get a good video lockup on the video image. I have to have what's called a video scanner already removed out of a machine that I scrapped out, so when I'm setting video heads on these bars and I'm replacing the tips, I'm able to set the clearance using a actual drum used in the machine so the tips protrude in the correct spots. So that way you know the video head is not sticking out too far, or it's in too far, or out too far, or whatever the deal is. It's got to protrude a certain protrusion on the video scanner so it plays the A and B side of the video scan properly. Alright? So you got to make sure you have a scanner. If you're going to be attempting this kind of work, you need a video scanner like this, which is taken out of a AV8600. This is a scanner I use for rebuilding my video heads. Alright? Alright, this is a video bar out of a Sony AV8600. This is one I'm working on for a customer. This was shorted out, so I actually had to take another bar that he provided me with and replace one of the tips. Alright, because one of the tips was shorted out, and then resolder it, and now I made him a perfect working video bar. Okay? You could build or rebuild video heads three different ways. The best way to rebuild a video head is to either make your own tips like I do, or you could use video tips off of Betamax VCRs. Some of the earlier Betamax VCRs used the same type of tip, or video tip, and they have the screw mounts on them, and you can actually use those, and they do work. Some Betamax video machines, the video tips are interchangeable with these Eiaj machines, and there's several models that do actually work, that I've gotten video tips from, that I've actually built video bars for people. But like I said, if you got a lot of Eiaj reel-to-reel video machines, you can actually rebuild video bars with other bars that you might have that are not working. One side might be shorted out where the other side might not be. So you could take another bar and check them, which I'm going to show you now, to make sure you get video tone. These should be about 1 video volt, or 1.3 volts is what each video tip scans at. And I'm going to show you how you check that on a multimeter. You should have, actually the voltage on these things is only about a volt, 1 1/3 volt actually. But that's not what you should be concerned about. You should be concerned about tone. You need to get tone to make sure the video coil in the tip isn't shorted out. Alright? There's a video coil that's actually made out of I'll show you this. I don't know if you can see this. See this copper wire? This very fine copper wire that's on this little spindle right here. See all this? This stuff is really fine. This is what I use to build my own video tips for these video bars. I actually wind my own video heads on carbide tips that I actually buy special, and then I glue them and I actually make my own video tips. This is the wire that I use. See this really fine wire? That's the same stuff that's used on these video heads that they wrap the video tips to create a magnetic field. Alright, it's like a magnet. It's a little tip with carbide tip with copper wire that's wrapped around it so tightly that it creates a 1-volt magnetic field. Okay? What happens is those little copper windings short out. When they short out, that's why you don't get any video signal out of one head, and you might get a little video playing out of maybe the A head, but you won't get anything out of the B head, and you get video noise in your video picture. A lot of times it's because you got a shorted video head. Alright, as you can tell, I've got my multimeter. See this thing right here? You need to get a multimeter that's got what's called tone. Okay, it creates tone when you're bridging. When you put these two together, you'll get tone, meaning this, it's a complete circuit. You put it in the tone position. As you can see, I'm getting tone. See? Alright. On these video heads, you got two wires on one side of the coil and on the other side of the coil. When you take these two prongs to the connections on the video heads, you should get a tone. If you do not get a tone, that video tip is shorted out. Alright? As you can tell, I'm getting a tone. That means this video tip, the winding on this video tip is not shorted out. The little coil that wraps around the carbide tip is not shorted out. And that means you got a good video head. When you flip it around, you check it again. Alright, I got tone on this side. That means that video head, the copper winding on this video tip is good. Alright, so that shows you that both of these video heads are good. Alright, so what I did was, I had another video bar that had a bad video head on one side, but the other side had a good tip on it. So I was able to take that tip and transfer it over to this bar. Alright, and now I got two perfectly working video tips on both sides. So here's the thing, guys. After you build a bar, you got to have the video scanner. Okay, see the scanner here? So let me take the top part of the scanner off. Alright. There we go. Here we go. Here's the top part of the scanner. It's taken off. Now what you're going to notice is basically you got a little metal strip that comes off of this spinning brass plate. See the brass plate that the head sits on? This little metal strip it creates a field for your PG coils at the top of the drum. This is what actually helps you flip your A and B head with those coils that's located at the top of the drum. Alright, you got to make sure you do this right. On every video bar, you're going to notice you got a red or a yellow wire, or a blue and a white wire. You always put the red and yellow wire side to the right of this metal aluminum little plate that's sticking out like this. You want to put the red and yellow wire on this side. So when you install it, you want to install it with the red and yellow on this side of this metal plate. Alright? If you install this head the opposite way, it will not work right. This is perfect common sense on this. If you look at a schematic or you don't have a schematic, you will not get the video bar to work right if the red and yellow are on the left side of this aluminum plate. It has to be on the right side. Alright? And then what you do is you screw them down. Alright? But here's the tricky part, folks. If you don't know how to do this, the video tips protrude from the scanner. Alright? What you do is you look at a good video bar, which I've done millions of times, and you look at the protrusion of the video head. You have to set the protrusions by unscrewing these screws on both of these little tips. You have to set the protrusions exactly. They have to be sticking out just barely, and these tips have got to be straight on, dead on, as you push them forward to protrude the video head to the outside of the drum, which is just the little shaved burrow of the drum, the tip should be protruding just a little bit on both sides, and they should be perfectly straight before you screw them down. Sometimes you might have to do this 2 or 3 different times when you check the video bar to make sure you're getting the A and B head flipping properly. You're not getting flagging on the video, and the video is playing solid up the top part of the video and the bottom part of the video. You gotta know how to learn how to do this if you're building video heads. You gotta make sure the protrusions are correct. You gotta make sure you screw them in and they're perfectly straight when you do this, because the tip has to be perfectly straight when it's hitting the actual video tape. So you gotta set your protrusions, you gotta know how to do it. Alright, you set the protrusions, you gotta make sure the video head is in the right side. Red and yellow should be to the right of the actual aluminum coil reading plate that's right here on top, which this is what controls your PG coils. So you want to make sure your red and yellow is to the right of that. And you have to make sure you have an extra video drum out of one of these machines. If you're going to be rebuilding and building video heads for the Sony Eiaj machines, you got to have a drum. You got to know how to, basically you got to know how to check. You got to know how to check the coils using tone and a multimeter like this. Alright, and you got to have extra parts. You got to have a lot of these machines for parts, meaning if you got machines and they got bad video heads, most likely you're going to have one tip that's still going to be good. Like me, I have like 7 or maybe 10 bars that I have extra tips on that I can actually transfer to one bar and make one video bar like this that works, so I can make myself a perfectly working video head. Now, if you got a lot of extra parts and you know how to do this, basically you're going to create yourself your own video bar. The biggest problem is you need to know how to check them. So basically you want to check for tone. So basically once you solder a tip, you see how I'm checking for tone? They both got good tone. Okay? Once you got good tone, you want to unscrew these and you got to put them in a drum so you can set the tip protrusions coming out of the drum. Once you do that, it's trial and error. You shouldn't have any problem as long as you install the video head with the red and yellow in the correct way onto the right side when you set it on the plate. Should be to the right side of this PG coil aluminum flange that sticks out that helps flip the head when the machine is running from A to B. So make sure you put that to the right side of the plate of the scanner. The yellow and red should always be to the right. You check for tone, and basically you're going to transfer video heads off of extra bars if you have them. If you do not have them, you can substitute Betamax VCR video tips do work. You have to do the same on those. You have to solder them in place and you got to set the protrusions. They do work. But if you have any questions about how to repair and build video heads for the Eiaj reel-to-reel video machines like this, you can send me an email, I'll walk you through it. But this is basically how you do it. But you do have to have a video drum out of a machine to use because you got to set protrusions. So you got to have the actual drum like this, which is the same one used on all the Eiaj reel-to-reel video series. The 3600, the 3650, the 8600, 8600, it's all the same. But you got to have one like this out of a machine so you can actually build yourself a video bar. And if you have a lot of video bars, always check. Guarantee you one of the video tips will be good. And you could transfer old tips from old video bars and make yourself a perfectly working video bar like this. If you have any questions, get a hold of me, but I hope you enjoyed this video.